beauties, it's Riri. If you're new here, I'm an over 40 lover of all things beauty and I love showcasing indie brands here on my channel. I also love talking about my top finds of 2024. We are counting down all of our favorites from last year. Today it's all about blush and bronzer. I wanted to kind of keep everything as short and sweet as possible and keep categories separately, but because I'm using cream product and powder product, it's easier for me to do blush and bronzer. So hopefully you guys are okay with that. Y'all know with this series, I've been going through and demoing my two favorites, but I have to use this, you guys. I have to use the Curve Case from Made by Mitchell. This is in the colorway or color story light. And I've only been using this for a few weeks. However, I already know and love his formula. I have the blushes in some of these same exact shades. I did get this from Kate in our swap, and y'all, I've used it every single time I have done my makeup since receiving it. It is lovely. I love that this formula is a little bit, it's more opaque. It kind of feels a little bit more emollient, but then it's also very thin when applied on the skin. And I know that doesn't really make sense. It does not make sense when I say it to y'all, okay? But it's insanely pigmented and very, very opaque. But then as you start to blend it out, it just becomes this beautiful kind of veil of coverage. It's stunning. I'm just going to demo them and just show you guys what I mean. I go in with a firm, rounded kabuki brush. You can go in however you want to. And I'm going to be going in with Creme Carve for the bronzer side. And then I'll probably go up here to Snatchural for my blush. So I'm going to go in. I am okay because I'm comfortable with this formula going straight to the complexion. If you are not, take it on your brush and then just kind of remove any excess. But at the same time, you can see I'm kind of manipulating the product into my brush so that I can evenly distribute. With my bronzer, I like to start pretty high up and I start almost actually into my hairline. I'm going to do little tapping, stamping motions. And I come about halfway down. I don't generally go past like my actual colored part of my eyeball with my bronzer. Again, I like to keep it pretty high up. And you can see in real time how quick that was. It's beautiful. I cannot even express how beautiful this looks on the skin. It almost looks blurred and diffused and airbrushed on the complexion. I don't feel like you can overdo it. I mean, you guys can see I press it out just a little bit, but if I did want to amp this up, the main reason I did want to talk about this, even though it's a newer product to me, is because I can use this now. I can go in and take a less is more approach, as you guys are seeing in real time. But if I wanted to amp this up, 1000%, I could do that. Then I'll go ahead and do the other side. I'll speed this side up, obviously, for you guys. So we're not here for 3,000 years. But again, starting very, very high up. Not coming past like the center of my eye. So we will definitely come back to this. I'll demo the blush for y'all as well. Wipe off my hands. I do keep a towel down here. Then from here, as far as bronzers go, I have quite a few. Of course, I may go back on top of this and do a powder as well. Again, I don't like to do that and kind of layer a ton of different things because you guys cannot actually see what I'm doing. Next up is the Charlotte Tilbury, the Beautiful Skin Sun-Kissed Glow Bronzer. This is in the shade Medium. I did receive this in my Allure Beauty box and I love it. This also has a very kind of thick texture to it, but this is more of kind of like a matte, very opaque and a little bit more dense formula, if you will. But it also, when applied and kind of blended out, first of all, it blends out incredibly easy. On me, it's bulletproof, but it has this beautiful kind of velvet type of finish to it. Like the Clarins Lip Perfector is kind of the best way I can describe that, but it feels like velvet. It's lovely. It blends out incredibly well. It's great. I love it. Next up is the Winky Lux. This is the Cheeky Rose Liquid Sculpt, and this is in the shade Amalfi. I have the blush and the bronzer to talk about today, and I've used these. I used them all year. They are lovely. I think I never hear anybody talk about Winky Lux. These are perfection. You shake it up. It has like a little ball in there. I love the shade of this and everything else. The component, super cute, also very affordable. With this, I go in and do 2 little dots down here, 2 dots up here. It's quite thin, enough opacity, and pigment and richness that you can actually build it up. You can see it, but it also blends out incredibly well. They're very thin too. They're lovely. I love this product. Next up, one that I was on the fence for a long time buying because it's pricey, but I'm happy to have it and I love it, is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Bronzer, also in shade 2 or medium. First of all, this pan, you guys, I've used this and used this and used this, and you cannot even tell. This is gonna last me literally a lifetime. And Airbrush is aptly named. It is incredibly, incredibly smooth, very soft. It looks airbrushed on the skin. It's really, really stunning. I love how it looks. It does kind of just blur and diffuse. I think it's really lovely. It lays well on top of other products. I'll actually put a little bit of this on. Again, like I said, I don't like to do that because then you can't actually see the difference between this and this. I always go in with a big fluffy brush. And I love with this that you cannot overdo this. You can go in and you can add and add and add and add, and it never becomes too much. It just blurs and diffuses. It just looks so pretty, you guys. It's so stunning. Like, I don't buy prestige makeup, in quotes, you know, super expensive makeup very often. And sometimes I'm very nervous when I do, and I'm like, man, you know, I start to get like, I'll feel a little bit guilty, and I'm like, dang it, I spent this much when I know that I could buy this for this much. This is one of those products that I was on the fence about, and I was like, you know what? I love her setting spray. I love the regular powder. I've gone through a couple of those. So I kind of knew and trusted her formula. This is lovely. In my personal opinion, well worth the price point. Next up, one of my holy grails, I've repurchased. I have a couple of different blushes. I love this. And of course, drugstore pricing. It is the NYX Buttermilk Bronzer. This one is in the shade All Buttered Up. And it's stunning. It's so beautiful, you guys. It is beautiful. It has a little bit of like a radiant quality to it, but not like sparkly or shimmery or anything like that. It just looks really pretty on the skin. It smells delicious. It smells like cocoa. And this is another one that you can go in and it gives a very soft, very like, you know, light diffused touch, or you can go in and amp it up. Less is more with these two. Like you can put a little bit too much, but they blend out incredibly well. They last all day on my skin. Affordable price point. They have every color under the sun you could possibly imagine. I've gifted these. Highly, highly, highly recommend. I'm going to go in now with two contours. This is the Sephora Collection Contour Stick. This is in the shade Light to Medium. And mine got a little bit messed up, but I like that this is a true cool toned, as contour is meant to be, to provide shadow and shade. It is a true cool tone, very thin, blends out incredibly well, and it's another one that has that beautiful kind of soft diffused look to it. It looks beautiful on the skin. And my other favorites, and I've already talked about this, I love this. This is also pricey. It's the Westman Atelier Biscuit Contour. It's my favorite of all time. And the reason that I like this one a little bit more than this one, you'll be able to see when I swatch this one on my hand. This one has a little bit more of a slip to it, and it sometimes can kind of disappear on me, if that makes any sense. Whereas this one, it's a little firmer. It's a little bit more opaque. I'm hoping you'll see that. It's a little bit more opaque and just offers a little bit more. And it kind of just stays in place and wears a little bit better on me. The way that I like to use this is I either go straight in, and I would have normally done this first. My bad. I stay very high and I do like that much, the tiniest little bit. Or I go in with my little contour brush. This is a super teeny tiny but firm brush, and I'll go in and pick some up from here. If I feel like I've picked up too much, tap on the back of my hand, and again, a tiny bit at the very highest point, going up into my hairline. And I'm just going to sculpt out. Again, pushing it up into my hairline, coming about halfway down. This is personal preference. You can place yours wherever you want to place it. And then I will flick up. Keep in mind, I would not normally have these other products on. Same thing over here. I'm just going to blend it out. It blends out incredibly well. I again like that it is, you know, easy to work with. It lasts all day on the skin, and it's actually a cool toned contour shade. I love it. I also like to take this on the nose. And a lot of, I mean, I typically just go in with the stick. You guys have seen me, this is nothing new. This is nothing new to you guys. And then I also will do my chins. But it's just, I like that it's opaque enough, pigmented enough that it does what I need it to do. And it doesn't slip off. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't budge. But it also doesn't like stick in place. I've definitely had products that I've used where, you know, you'll have foundations or concealers or whatever that you set down. And then if you don't blend it immediately, honey, you're in trouble. You do not have to worry about that with this. It's, you know, it blends out easily. I cannot say enough good things about it. I've been tempted to get the full size of this, but Westman Atelier they're expensive for no reason. We'll just say that. I am not somebody that, you know, kind of falls for the hype or whatever. I happened to see, I think it was Babs Beauty, maybe, is who I saw use this. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'll try it. And they had a mini, and I mean, I am happy to have it, but this one is just not quite as pigmented, but maybe that's a good thing for you. And it can be just a little bit slippy and maybe not sometimes wear as well. But if you're looking for a little doopity-doop, it's fine. So those are all the bronzer products. We'll go back into the curve case. And like I said, I'm going to go into Natural. I'm going in with that exact same brush. I'm going to pick up a little bit and of course tap the excess on the back of my hand. And I'm going to meet where I've left off with my bronzer. I really had to be careful now because I have powder on my skin now. And I just basically do the apple part of my cheek. And you can see how punchy this is. I probably honestly went in with a little bit too much. And I'm going to meet from there. I do like to put a little bit of blush up over my nose. That is personal preference. And if you ever go just a little bit too much, I definitely put a little bit too much over here. I'm just going to go in with my foundation brush. And I will put that just on the edges. And it will offer just a soft diffusion for you and kind of take that down a little bit so it's not quite as intense. You can see just how beautiful and just airbrushed the Made by Mitchell things look. They look, I love this palette. Like, Kate sent me a bunch of stuff for our swap that I love, you guys, but I love this. I've used it every single time I've done my makeup. It is lovely. Next up, we will talk about blushes, and then I'll choose one that matches. First up, this was a recommendation from my beautiful friend Debutante. This is the Melt Cosmetics Cream Blush Light in Honey Thief. This is beautiful. If you are looking for a cream blush that is very, very thin, very slippy, like very, very creamy, you guys, blends out really, really well, but then has a beautiful level of just sheen, a little bit of like a glow from within, this is the way to go. And I got it for 50% off. Highly recommend. I think it is stunning. It sits on the skin beautifully. It also gives a little bit of like a diffusion to the skin. It's lovely. Next up, the Winky Luxe. This is the Cheeky Rose Liquid Blush in Darling. Same thing. Shake it up. Has the little shaky thing in it. I love the components. I love the color of this. And again, with this is very, 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 very pigmented. So less is more. Like a dot works. Or put it on the back of your hand. Like, y'all, that is rich. That is intense. And I'm going to show you just how much. Like, this is going to go for days and days and days and days and days. Like, this is intense. You need just a little tiny bit. I may actually use this because I think it'll look really pretty, but let me continue on in the blushes. Beautiful, long lasting. I love them. Love the component. Love everything about that. Next up is the Kosas blush. I got like the little mini trio that had 3 together, and they are a baked style blush. I also have an honorable mention. I forgot to set it out, but the Laura Geller face palette that has all the baked products in it. Her blush and bronzer, perfection. Beautiful. But this one is in the shade Euphoria Blush. Blush is Life. And these especially if you have more dry skin. Whoops. These also have that really pretty, like, you know, soft baked formula where they have just a kiss of just a little bit of luminous quality. Sorry about that, you guys. They have just a little bit of a luminous quality to them. They look beautiful and airbrushed and diffused on the skin. They're great. They're lovely. And I loved like all 3 shades that came with this. This is a beautiful formula, you guys. Next up, we have the Milk Makeup, the Cooling Water Jelly Tints. I have a couple of these and I love these. The reason that these are not in my top 2 and one that I'm like demoing for you guys is solely because, in my opinion, they're not super beginner friendly. And I've demoed these multiple times. I have shorts, I have reels, I've demoed them, used them multiple times. But I love the component. I did keep these on here because I do not want them to dry out. But because of the formulation, they can be a little finicky. But I love to use these for a quick monochromatic moment. I literally put some right here up in my crease, tap it out with my fingers, put some on my lips as my balm, and then I will go in with a brush. Again, I'm a believer of using a brush. If you go straight to the skin with this, it's not going to blend out as well. It doesn't look as seamless and as pretty, and it can stick to dry patches. So what I do is take a brush and I will place it like so and do it that way. And then I also, like I said, use it on my eyes. I use it for a lip tint. It has a beautiful cooling texture to it. It's incredibly light on the skin, very, very lightweight. You do not know you have this on. And then it lasts forever on the skin. But because it's not super beginner friendly, in my opinion, and can be a little bit finicky, that's not going to be one I'm going to be demoing today. Next up is another love. This is the Huda Beauty Watermelon Drip. This was her blush filter liquid blushes. These are beautiful and incredibly pigmented. This is another one where you go in with a dot, and I shit you not, a dot. And that little dot is going to go and go and go and go and go and go. But the beautiful thing about these is it actually really does give a soft diffusion, and it does look like a beautiful filter on the skin. You can go in with too much, and I do not recommend going straight to the cheeks. Go to your hand and pick up from the brush, go to the brush and then tap it off on your hand, whichever. I do not personally recommend you going straight to your cheeks, because it does not work as well, in my opinion. But I love the color of this, the texture, the finish, everything. It's beautiful. And then I have a couple more. I know y'all, I know I'm so long-winded. Look, some of these videos have not been very long. Next up is the NYX Buttermelt Blush. This is in the shade Fillin' Butter. And then I also have the shade You Butta Know. I love these. All kinds of finishes, colors. They have some that have a little bit of a sheeny, luminous quality to them. They have some that are more matte. They've got pinks and purples and nudes and all the things. They are lovely. Let me open these up for y'all. These are exquisite. They're incredible. They're pretty damn incredible. So both of these, you can see, are more of the shimmery versions. And I will note again, if you do not like shimmery, you're not gonna like these, but intense. A little goes a very long way. These, I like to go in with a fluffy brush, barely pick up any. I tap off my brush and then I go in and apply. They are bulletproof. They last all day. Less is more approach. You can really build them up. And I like products like these, like for myself, because I am more light in the wintertime and I get incredibly tan in the summertime. And I can use these year round. You can go in with a big open fluffy brush, go in with a less is more approach and get a more diffused effect. Or maybe if you want to load this up and have pigment, you can also do that. These are lovely. And then the last blush I'm going to talk about is the Fenty Cheeks, the Suede Powder Blush in the shade Bacon Cakes. And suede powder is perfection for what this is. It is aptly named. I do not feel this. When I'm putting my finger into this, you do not feel it. It is that smooth, that silk-like. It has, again, just a touch of a luminous quality to it. It feels like suede. It feels so incredibly soft, you guys. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. I think I'm gonna go in with this one. I'm gonna just do a tiny little bit. Again, I don't know how well you're going to see it because I do have other product, but this wears well. It's beautiful on the skin, incredibly lightweight. I feel like it does give a little bit of a diffused look. And I like that for me, I don't have a whole lot that's like a little bit more kind of neutrally leaning like this. I also like that because I am light right now, I can use this and take a very less is more approach, and I can use it as a soft diffused blush, or I can also go in with my bronzer blush and kind of use it as like a one and done blush and bronzer together. That was a lot to get through. That was a lot to talk about, y'all. I'm so very sorry. I love all of these. These are all great finds. I would recommend all of these. And hopefully you guys like this. Hopefully you like that I'm talking about them and then being able to demo them in real time with you guys. I am all for something that, because I do have textured skin and larger pores and stuff like that, that's fine with me. I'm human. We all have flaws, and it's fine. I love my face. It is what it is, y'all. This is my face, and I only get one of them. But if I can find products to kind of tweak things and make me feel a little bit more confident, that can give me that softer, kind of more blurred effect, I'll take it. That is it. That is all of my blushes and bronzers, all my favorite ones from 2024. I would love to know what yours are. Comment down below. Let's have that conversation. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you'll stick around and join my beauty family. I'd love to have you here. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up too if you did enjoy. Thank you to my beautiful channel members. I love you. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. And of course, be your own best beautiful. Bye, beauties.